Richard somebody.
Richard Hawkins,
There we go.
Power versus Force.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So you're not one of these people that kind of sit down and look at things from a very logical black and white. You should do this, try that, go and do that. You look at it from the holistic perspective as well.
Yes, yes, yeah, I do. And that actually resonates very well. The conversation I had on Tuesday with a client where I actually asked her, you know, how do you see me? How do you experience me? Because I now have to come up with a little ad and something. I've got the little a taster thingy here for when I do a talk in May, and it's a little ad. And we need to come up with some words that describe me, because actually it's very difficult. I find it very difficult. And she said something that she used those words holistic, but she said it's like you use your knowledge of models and theories and your experience and practices, and you use that in a way that supports me. You don't run with an agenda. It's my agenda. So you hear me out, you give me space and time to bring the emotions, and by that you validate me, how I feel and what I'm experiencing. I feel validated, and then we talk about what needs to get done. And you don't tell me what to do, but you use your experience and your knowledge of models and all of that to ask questions and elicit and catalyze, you know, what's good for me, what I want to do next. And the way she phrased it, and she did it much more eloquently than I put it there, was just, yeah, it's what I do.
And you thought, damn it, I wish I was recording that at the time.
I made copious notes.
That's brilliant.
I don't have in front of me
but
right
you
now.
can see, can't you, how when you're working with a client and they come in one space, one emotional space. I mean, we did this before we started. We did a clearing session. So anything that was kind of on our minds, we could put to one side in order to bring the energy. And we actually started it with a giggle, didn't we? We had a laugh about something. And I think, obviously, that's the epitome of a good coach, as far as I'm concerned, is your client can come in and their energy is suppressed. And by the time you've offloaded and got rid of all the negative, and you've raised their consciousness into a different level of being, then you can start building and motivating. And I don't know about you, but you go through all the tears when they're there and you have the tissues out and everything. But then you can start motivating. Then you can start inspiring. Then you can start giving them pointers for the way forward, and they choose, but they've got this and this and that, and then by the time they leave, they're all, can I have a hug please? And it's like because you sent them out on their way. And I think dare I say it, the ladies are very good at that. Ladies are very intuitive about feeling somebody's energy when they walk through the door. They can feel their anger or their upset, and they don't, it's not a taking it personally thing. It's just it's a a tangible feel in the air, isn't it? I mean, one of our collaborators once said, bring your hands together around about here, and can you feel that energy in that space? And you can literally feel this electric going on in that space. And so to catalyze, as you say, and get that energy and move it forward, it's giving the person the opportunity to kind of get unstuck and kind of come out of that way of being.
And that's exactly what she said. Sorry to interrupt. You know, you how did she put it now? I'm a guide. You definitely use that word. And she says, and then she comes away stronger, with more energy for her business and clearer. So there's that element of empowering. So the words that I've been given this week is gentle, effective, empowering.
Oh, nice. Gentle, effective, and empowering.
Yes. And I like that. And
Beautiful.
we talked a little bit, the strap lines and things that, that's consistently coming up for me is doing things with ease and grace. Get more done and have more fun. So it's not that drive, push, to must get this done. Otherwise, I'm not good enough.
That's called the rat race, and that's what we're stuck with. And
Backpedal now.
What I realise is the more you see people out there, where they're in their business and they've been taught throughout their life to cope, to do it alone, to not rely on people, because that's the sausage machine factory we've come out of in our education system, and they're all on their own, and they don't allow themselves to ask for help. They don't necessarily allow themselves to see that they need someone to see what's going on, because they're doing, and they can't see the big picture. And well, if you don't do that bit and let someone else do that bit, that releases you to do more of the stuff that you love and less of the stuff that you don't love. So I believe in this country, at least, and I think the Americans catch on to it quicker than we do, there's a massive need for people to have a coach, whether it's a personal development coach or a life coach, to give them a different perspective on their life from a different viewpoint.
Absolutely.
But there's no, people don't realize it yet. There's this massive need, but they don't see that they need it, or they don't acknowledge that they need it. And it's like, I'm fine, I can get by, it's all right. No, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown, I can't do it. And then they go, I think I need some help. But really, the ideal thing is, even when you're cracking on, you're doing really, really well, is just get a coach in who can go, yeah, you are doing really well, keep on doing that. Or actually, you're heading for a disaster because I can see what you can't see on the road ahead.
But the other thing about coaching, now as we talk about it, is, in the corporate world, it was you would get help when you seem to be underperforming. So I think sometimes coaching has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But, if you are somebody who performs very well, so, you get this bell curve thing. So if you're at the not performing end of the bell curve, it's okay to have a coach. Most organizations and the world and our government and systems are organized for the majority of people. So this end, non-performing, there's not a lot going on. And on the other end, where people don't fit into those two categories, there's not a lot going on either. And those people need as much help, because I'm not fitting here, I'm not fitting there. How many of our people go off the rails because there's not the support for them? They ask themselves the same questions that you and I did as children, and for some reason found other answers. Drugs, drinking, whatever it is. And what a waste of talent. Anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Sermon over.
but that's kind of what BeCollaboration is trying to acknowledge and support. Because if you have a community around you, you all become each other's coaches to a certain extent, because you're able to go, I've had this idea, I want to try this out. And people won't go, that's ridiculous. They'll go, okay, I'm not sure if I understand that. Can you tell me how you're going to do that? And by the way, do you need any help? So it's a different, it's a supportive environment, rather than what we're taught is this facade of, I'm fine, I'm okay, I can do this, this will be okay. And then, of course, you get the cracks in the way forward, because people can't keep it up. And there's a guy on the platform at the moment, if you haven't already found out, it's BeCollaboration Global. Go along, people that are listening to this podcast, go along to Mighty Networks and type in BeCollaboration Global. On there's a guy called Terry Melvin, and he talks about how failure is a dirty word in our society. And actually, if at schools we embraced failure as I failed, so now I can learn, I've learned something. What can I learn from this failure? What can I learn from this mistake? It's a good thing, and it propels us forward. We wouldn't feel shame, we wouldn't feel embarrassed, we wouldn't feel vulnerable. And then that goes back to Brené Brown, what she's discovered over time, that the people that do admit, I'm not having a great time, are actually going to be stronger in the long run, and they'll accumulate more knowledge, more support, more help in order to get done what they need to do, because they're going, actually, I need some help. And
Absolutely.
in a community space,
Mm.
I believe that we've collected together some really special people that if you knew you were having a hard time, you could look around and go, can you help me? And there's someone there that will be, absolutely, what do you need? And it's a lovely environment to be in. I don't know if you were there in London, it was in October, I think, when we did this mirror. I was told it was a mirror exercise. I'd never realised it was a mirror exercise before, where we had a box and you opened the box and you looked in, and everyone was told before they looked in the box that there was, I said, I need help, and my life isn't very easy. I have a lot to do, but there's something in this box that I rely on, and this box is, the contents of this box might help you. This is something that's very special to me. I don't want you to laugh. I don't want you to ridicule me, because this works for me. There's something in this box that I rely on and I love very much, and I'm going to share it with you today. So they all had to sit there with their eyes shut. You weren't, were you there? Do you remember this?
No.
Okay, so they all had to sit in a circle with their eyes shut. And then when they'd opened the box, they then had to look in the box and then write 3 words on the board that they first thought of when they looked in the box. Now, of course, they're looking for a cute bunny or a toy or something that I go to for comfort and support. And actually what they saw in there was a mirror for reflecting back on them. So they then had to acknowledge and realise that I'm relying on them and I love them and they are my support network. So it was a toss-up between, it could have all gone very wrong, because if one person had let the cat out the bag at the beginning, the others wouldn't have got the message. But actually it resulted in, oh my goodness, and it was like to tears, to acknowledgement that they didn't even bother to look in the mirror, because they were like, oh, so I'm special to Jill, and they pass the box on quick, because they didn't want to see themselves in that role, and how they could empower themselves and each other. So I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. The point is that when we have people around us, good family, good friends, you have to acknowledge them and you have to let them know that they're an amazing support for you. And I think with community being lost in society, and with the ever increasing consciousness lowering in energy, going down to anger and grief, bereavement, and all those apathy, all those low vibrations, that we need to consistently remember that we need to build ourselves up in a community, as well as in a, not commune, but communally, in order to raise the vibration, and then we have kind of the tipping point to everybody else. And we don't go to church like we used to. We don't have faith like we used to. We don't have the old-fashioned community like we used to, where you used to know everybody in the street. We don't have youth clubs like we used to. We don't have all those things that brought people together. We're now sitting at home on our little mobile phone or our little laptop, and we're not having the conversations and sharing the love like we used to 20, 30, 50 years ago. Yeah. So to my mind, understanding, 1, how special you are, and 2, that other people believe you are as well, is very empowering. And then of course you go, I know this and I've got people around me, what could I achieve? And that's why I think having a coach is your very first step to getting that self-empowerment, and then go, right, I'm not on my own. Who else is with me to achieve this? So now you're in the BeCollaboration community. What are the sorts of things that you want to achieve with a collaborative mindset with the people around you?
It's a question I've been asking myself, actually. And I think perhaps the kind of thing that I would truly be interested in hasn't come about yet. And when I think about, and when I say that, I'm thinking about members like Dave Caudle, for instance, who's very much into education, found somebody in BeCollaboration he was passionate about. Who was passionate about the same thing, and they're working together. They've done a collaboration.
Yeah.
So, and I know there's a number of other things, but nothing that's really sort of, I really want to get involved.